Hello YouTube viewers. Alright, so what you're looking at here is a 2005 Cannondale R700. I picked this one up recently from a friend whose landlord was selling it, and been sitting around for quite a while, and we negotiated a price, $220. So I felt like that was a really good price for this bike. It has been sitting for a while. A new chain was put on it. But I just wanted to run through some of the things you should check out if you're buying a used bike, just some things to look for. The first thing you want to do is just make sure everything works. Before I actually get on it and test ride it, I just give like the front wheel a spin and just listen carefully. Maybe put your hand down here. If you feel the bearings making any kind of gritty feeling, or if you hear them making noise, that's a bad sign. These are very quiet. There's no issues with them. And then, of course, the brakes, the front brakes, are they set up? Does it stop? Okay, yeah, looks like it'll stop. The other thing is the headset. Just want to give a little movement here. Do you feel any play or looseness in there? This one's nice and tight. Turns back and forth. The bearings are quiet, so it looks like they're in pretty good shape. Headset bearings typically don't go bad, but they can. And then you just want to look things over. The brakes, okay, it's working properly. Does the release work? Yeah, the release works. Okay, looks like that's all good. I want to give a check on the spokes. This is a low spoke count bike, so these are big heavy spokes, and they all feel nice and tight. And then just look at the pad, give it a spin. Is the wheel spinning true? This one's got a little wobble, but nothing real bad, nothing we couldn't true up. So front of the bike feels really good. Then you just want to keep moving back. The bottom bracket is the next one. You just take it, give a little wobble back and forth. Do you feel any play at all? I don't feel any. There can be a slight amount, but not much there. And the next thing you want to do is check the bearings. Now with the chain on, it's a little tricky. So what I like to do is, this is a triple by the way, is just drop the chain off and then just, if it'll actually, see, triples are kind of tricky like this. They tend to get in the way. Just turn it and feel. Do the bearings feel gritty? Do you hear anything? No. These are really quiet. I believe the bearings in the bottom bracket are good, and there's no play. Then just go ahead and put it back on. Alright, so that's that. The bottom back bracket bearings feel really good. And the next thing is the rear wheel. You want to do the same thing there. Give it a little wiggle back and forth. Are the bearings nice and tight? Yes. Do you feel any bad sounds, any gritty sounding? No, it feels nice and good. Give it a spin. Look at the brake pad. Does the wheel wobble as it spins? This one's actually better than the front. It's just a slight one. I think we could fix that up. Go around and feel the spokes. Are they all tight? Yeah, they all feel really good. Okay, and then we'll look at this brake. Now this brake, quick release doesn't really seem to have much action, and I was looking down here and the spring has some corrosion on it, so this thing's seen some weather. There's also a little corrosion right here, so those are points you could make. Hey, look, there's some wear here. It looks like there may be some problems. And this one, what I noticed is going through the gears, shifting, it's just kind of not very good. Now I can probably adjust it, but it's dragging a little bit. It's just not great. And the thing is, triples are very tedious and tricky to adjust. But I started turning some of these screws, and this top screw does not want to turn at all. It's seized. So that was a point to bring up, just to say, there's probably going to be some parts needing to be replaced. If I can't get this bolt loose, or this screw loose, then I may have to replace this front derailleur and this brake. If I can't get some penetrating oil in there and clean it up, I may have to actually replace this brake caliper. I think I can clean this one up. It's just, you know, minor detail there. So overall, everything appears to be okay. Then just take it on a ride, go through all the gears. Do you hear any odd noises? Does the bike track well? Obviously look the frame over. Is there any damage on the frame? This one doesn't have any. It looks real good, and it rides quite well actually. The tires and things like that, well, typically the tires are not original to the bike. I looked it up on Bikepedia, and it's not got the original tires, so it's been replaced at least once, so the tires aren't 13 years old. But I'm guessing they're fairly old, but you know, tires are a wear item. The other thing I noticed is the brake pads. They do appear to have some wear on them, and they appear to be thin, so it'll probably need a new set of brake pads. And then one thing you can look at is right here is the wear surface on the brake. Now this is your rim, so if the wear is real heavy on here, you might be looking at a new set of rims, and so that affects the price you're going to pay for the bike quite a bit. I just run my fingernail across here, and this one I can actually feel a few ridges. And so one thing you can do to get rid of that is just take some steel wool and clean it up and just see, you know, does that make a difference? It helps a little. So these things are probably salvageable, but there is some ridges, so this thing's got a fair amount of miles on it. But overall, it's a pretty good bike, and I felt like $220 was a good price. So what I'm going to do is, the other thing I noticed, and you can look at this when we get it. So it's on the biggest ring here and the biggest cog back there. And you can see the derailleur is not forward that far. Now the derailleur should be more like this. So what I'm noticing is the chain, it was replaced, but it's actually a little bit too long. Because if I go like this and drop it onto the smallest one, you see how the derailleur is kind of bouncing, and it's making kind of a rattling noise. It's because it's bumping on a derailleur stop back there. So that needs to be adjusted. All that's wrong with that is the chain is too long. I'll probably take 2 links out and that'll fix that. The other thing I noticed is it's got a SRAM power link, so it's a SRAM chain. That's fine, but this is a Shimano drive chain, and I would actually rather have a Shimano chain. The SRAM chain will work, but my preference would be a Shimano chain, so I may change that out to a Shimano chain, because triples are notorious to get them shifting right, and sometimes having a Shimano chain will make a little bit of difference. So guys, that's basically it. Things you can look for in buying a used bike. I hope it was helpful. Leave questions or comments if you want, and maybe I'll do another video with a few things I fix in that. Thanks for watching. Bye.